Greetings, I am Erin Patton, metaphysical master in a millennial age, and it is my life's purpose to guide you and organizations along an enlightened path. So I invite you to sit comfortably and tune in as I welcome you to the Meta Business Millennial, where we get the real conversations you won't get in the boardroom so that we understand this is exactly the path we need to be on in order to grow, evolve, and thrive. Greetings, I am Erin Patton, also known as Master L, and welcome to today's live episode of the Meta Business Millennial podcast. I am live across all social media platforms today: Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And I'm just really happy to be here today. I have been traveling for the past 3 weeks on what I have called my luxury birthday, solar return celebration retreat in Hawaii. And I really am just happy to be back with you all today. And if you haven't already, before we hop in, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel, like this video, share it with a friend. Of course, you can follow me across social media at I am Erin Patton. I would love to hear from any of you and all of you, of course, with DMs and comments respectfully. And with that, I'm just going to jump in. And I see that, some of you are coming into the room. I want to make sure I have my chat open so I can see your comments and things as they come through. And so I'm going to just go ahead and get started. So, like I said before, this is going to be really a reflection of, my past few weeks in Hawaii. And I chose Hawaii for a few different reasons. I chose Hawaii mostly because I had been guided there to a tropical place to celebrate my solar return. I actually celebrated 40 years around the sun. I know, it's shocking as hell to me too. That it's been 40 years on this planet in this body, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. And so I'm just really happy to be here and be celebrating my life, because I've been through to hell and back. I've been through a lot, and I wanted to make it really special for myself. And I have to credit, many of my very close friends for really encouraging me to do that. Like, I've had my friends been asking me for the past year, like, what am I doing to celebrate? And, and so they really encouraged me to set this up, and I did it big. And so, we started in Maui, and I did a beautiful 8-day celebration in Maui with family, with friends who came from all over. And it was really fantastic. And also I was guided to Hawaii for its energy. And after Maui, I went to the island of Kauai, which is actually, known for its awakening energy. And it's really, it's powerful energy. And I have to say that I had that awakening experience, and I felt that powerful energy. And it was just, all that I had dreamed of and more for that. And to, caveat that, I invited also my shamans, my mentors, my dear friends, my family, Max and Jasmine, who I had on last week's episode. We were live from Secrets Beach in Hawaii, of the island of Kauai, on the podcast. And we actually have more coming in the next couple weeks that we filmed while in Hawaii. And I invited them to come with me because I usually do retreats with them at their home in Tampa, Florida, which also was a very tropical place and has very beautiful beach energy, like cleansing energy, activating energy. But Hawaii is like obviously on a whole nother level. And so when I invited them to join me in Hawaii, the intention was to still create and cultivate this retreat-like environment, and also participate in advanced plant medicine ceremony, is what we call it. It's mimosa plant, and it's very different from what you would experience in other traditional or popular plant medicine traditions, like, ayahuasca or mushrooms or combo or any of these other types of plant medicine techniques. This is very much more targeted to advanced souls who are undergoing and going on an advanced soul or advanced journey, an accelerated journey. And I wanted to do that in Hawaii. And I'm glad I did. I'm so glad I did, because I knew, like, moving into this journey, it would be very much like a soul retrieval, a soul activating opportunity for me to really be fully embodied in my being. And I think that that's something that's, first of all, I didn't really know about it before this the past few months. And so I know many of you are very much like, what the fuck is that, Aaron? Soul retrieval? Like, I'm, mind, body, and soul all the time. Well, yes and no, because of, for lack of better words, the trauma that we've been through in our lives creates fracturing in our beings that really disallows our entire soul from really fully embodying our bodies and fully being present in everyday life. Hence why so many of us have ADD or ADHD, or it's really difficult being present, or you really don't feel like you get to be yourself, or you don't really feel like yourself some days because you aren't fully there. Your soul is not actually able to inhabit your body, very simply. And so what I'm doing essentially in these ceremonies, and what I have done, is continue to expand my awareness, expand my consciousness, expand my energy, clear a lot of my trauma, clear a lot of my baggage, my emotional, shit, so that my soul can have a beautiful, spacious, loving home to live in fully, very simply. And so that is why I went to Hawaii and invited my shamans to go with me. I really wanted to do that kind of work there. And I definitely accomplished that and more, because also when you go on these journeys, when I went on this journey with the plant medicine, I was really able to see that which was what I consider my life purpose and what it is I've been called to do by God, like my essentially my contract with God, my agreement with God for my soul being here in this day and time. And so many of us, have that yearning, if you will. And I certainly have, from a very young age, of wanting to change the world. I mean, I don't know if I mentioned this before on the podcast, but since I was very, very young, I wasn't very religious, but I love God so much. And I would pray every night. Like, I would pray the same prayer every night. And I'm happy to share this prayer with you guys because it was so meaningful to me. Literally for 20 plus years of my life, I prayed the same prayer. And I would pray for my family, and I would pray for myself, and I would ask God for patience, wisdom, and strength, and for the ability to change the world. Like, literally those words every night, from like young all the way through like probably late 20s. And it's interesting how, when you get what you pray for, saying, like, you really do get what you ask for from God, from the universe, because that patience, whew, I'm still getting them lessons. That wisdom, obviously it comes through with this soul journey and me going through metaphysical psychology, teachings and spiritual teachings and Tai Chi training and yoga training, and learning all these very ancient wisdom traditions. And the strength comes from the energy, the activation of my soul to be able to carry forth the work necessary to change the fucking world. You know what I'm saying? Like, this has essentially been my path, and I'm so grateful that I'm able to really come full circle and even acknowledge that with that prayer right now. Like, I'm so thankful for all of you for holding that space for me to be able to even see what I have been praying for come to fruition literally in the past 3 weeks for myself. And, I felt that prayer being answered in my ceremony when I was shown more about my purpose, and I was shown more about what I meant to do in this world and how I meant to support humanity, how I meant to really heal a lot of the pain and the trauma and the violence and the things that have been, we've really been on a journey with God with, and I really don't want to blame anyone or judge anyone or point anyone for anything that's, maliciously happening in the world, because a lot of it, as I always speak to, in many ways, complicit in, and whether consciously or unconsciously. And it's up to us to change that. And I've made it, my life's purpose to change that which I see in the world that's not for the highest good. And being able to have more clarity on how to bring that forth was absolutely necessary. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and kind of talk about what I saw, because this is obviously my podcast. It's like my confessional. It's like my opportunity to really share my experiences with you guys, and really co-create this new future with you. But really, I was shown my role as, a new earth leader, particularly for Black people. And I'm pretty sure that you're probably like, well, that's not that shocking. Well, and neither is it to me either. But to have that clarity is very important, because I kind of had been splitting my energy for a long time. Like, I studied at Harvard Business School. I studied at, University of Texas. I've done very mainstream corporate work. I've, started to move into entrepreneurship and niche a little bit more, serving, more underserved communities. Yet it wasn't quite clear who I was, brought here to serve, and that to me, I in many ways ran from that, because I didn't want to just be that Black girl, or that, and I'm laughing because, these are just my thoughts. Like, I wanted to be more than that. Like, and obviously I am more than that, but at the same time, this is also part of my, consciousness and my programming. And so I have to acknowledge that as well, and not necessarily throw it away, but, step into it and make something greater out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's actually my purpose. And I've talked so much over the past few weeks. I feel like, people are like not even wanting to hear it anymore. We talk about racism and Blackness, and get ready to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Get ready to hear more of it. Like, that's what I have to say. Get ready to hear more of it, because it's time for a new Black consciousness. And I am so excited, clearly passionate about this new, frontier that I may be able to explore and graft and create and design for what Black consciousness, a new Black consciousness, can look like. Come on now. Like, that just fills me with so much joy in my big heart. And I am so ready to see people of color, people from a melanated background, rise, experience wealth, feel joy, feel happiness, not even know what struggle means, not feel what disease is, like, to be on top of the world, and not in an oppressive way. And that to me brings me so much joy. And I had to close my eyes as I was saying that, because I had to really feel into that, because that is essentially what I've been called to do. And I embody that already, and essentially what this purpose work is, and what I was doing in Hawaii, is the work of embodiment. So essentially, like, no disrespect to our past Black leadership, but when we look at people like a Martin Luther King or a Malcolm X, like, they talked a really great talk. Yet, there are so many flaws in their character. Martin Luther King, they, had his little, saying, and then side flings or whatever kind of, stuff that was really not aligning to the beautiful, Mahatma Gandhi, mission at all times. And same with Malcolm X. Like, though I in my heart of hearts really believe that he was really doing his best to purify his being, there was so much anger there. There was so much violence in his message. There was so much of, his past programming. I mean, the dude was like in prison for very violent crimes and robberies. And he was, Red, Detroit Red, he came from the thuggest of the thugs. And so really, there wasn't that necessarily that sincerity and that purity in their beingness to bring forth the height of that vision that they carried. And And also, mind you, their age, okay, I'm taking that into consideration as well. They were in their early 30s. They were still very young. When I was in my early 30s, trust me, my being was not very pure, you know. And they were disallowed and blocked from being able to do that purifying work, which I'm sure, particularly Malcolm X, would have been happy to do. You know, however, constrained by religious beliefs, same with Martin Luther King, constrained by political climate, societal climate, which then got them, you know, knocked off and assassinated. So they really weren't able to complete the work that they so, you know, I would say very passionately, ambitiously, beautifully imagined for themselves, for their children, and for the world and for humanity. And so I really am, you know, calling forth those ideals and those leaderships, because particularly those were leaders that I deeply admired growing up, and in many ways still deeply admire. And I know so many people in the Black community admire. And so I want also us to be, of course, inspired by and learning from past Black conscious, past Black, you know, leaders, but then arcing towards something higher, something greater, something more pure, something more sincere, something more loving, you know, something more compassionate, where it's not about, you know, us against them. It's us for everybody. You know, it's everybody for everybody at this stage. And so I really yeah, I just had to share that was actually also part of my learning and my growing, and that, you know, this new Black consciousness and new Black leadership will be looking different. We'll be looking differently. And a lot of the times it's probably going to be a lot more women, because as we've seen in Black history, you know, we see Harriet Tubman, we see Ida B. Wells, we see, you know, some of these women, but not really in the same manner as we see the MLKs and the Malcolm X's and the Nelson Mandelas, you know, the freedom fighters, if you will. And there's no more fighting here. You know, there is just freedom and sovereignty. And I want to repeat that there's no need to fight. Who am I fighting? Why is there a fight? Either I'm free and I'm sovereign because I choose to be, or I'm not free or sovereign because I choose not to be. So there is no fight. There are just choices in this iteration of consciousness, particularly new Black consciousness. And I hope that this can really start to plant seeds in the collective, for you and viewers and listeners, that, you know, we are not in a struggle. We're not fighting anymore. We're just being our best selves. And in that beingness, that's how we create the change. That's how we create the wealth. That's how we create the abundance that we seek so deeply. And I think that feels so yummy for me. That feels so good for me. And I'm sure it probably feels yummy and good for you guys, because particularly when I was at the Black Urban Growers Conference about a month ago, and I was doing the transformational meditation that I shared on my social media, and it's on YouTube as well. You know, so many people came up to me afterwards because they were so grateful that I was debunking a lot of the struggle, fight, activism energy that came before me, and coming a lot from the elders. And a lot of times I believe in cultural traditions, whether they be Black or other, you know, people of color or other indigenous groups, there is a very deep admiration for and respect for the ancestors and elders, which is beautiful. Yet it is no longer, in my view, of highest service to where we're going. And so, yes, there is a place to hold space for our ancestors and hold space for the elders and their fight and their struggle, but their story is not our story. And I want to repeat that: the struggle and the fight of our ancestors is not our story. Those are two distinct things. And actually, that's part of my affirmations that I would say over myself is I would ask my ancestors and I would ask my lineage to bless me as I choose to live differently. Bless me as I embark on this abundance path. Bless me as I embark on this wealth journey. Bless me as I embark on this happiness journey. Bless me as I embark on this joyful journey. Bless me as I embark on this love filled journey because I choose to live differently. And that's fundamentally how it works. And once we make those choices and really start to move into those spaces of more abundance and joy and love and happiness, then we can see, how our ancestors or how our people, those that came before us in our lineage, suffered so much. And we don't have to suffer in that way. Thank them. We thank them for their service. We thank them for what they did. They did their best with their level of consciousness. And now at our higher embodied level of consciousness, we do things differently because we have to do things differently. We've been called to do things differently, particularly in this age. And when we talk about when I talk about this age, essentially it's the Aquarian age. Everyone knows the seventh, what is the fifth dimension? Is that the group that's saying it, the age of Aquarius? Like it's been opening, the portals have been opening since the 70s, even earlier than that, 1970s. But more powerfully in the 1970s, the shift was happening for the millennia, the new millennia, for this new age to be birthed, where there is higher consciousness on our planet. The earth actually can hold more energy, so it can expand its own consciousness, the actual plane itself. And then of course the beings that inhabit the plane will start to expand in consciousness as well. This to me is like the global warming. It's just the global activation, the global energy activation of the human consciousness, of the dimensional consciousness, the planetary consciousness. It's growing, it's shifting, and we feel it, particularly after COVID. Like it's undeniable. And so what I speak here, like, may be kind of sounding woo woo, but in reality, like, you feel it. Like, we don't think the same, we don't act the same, we don't do things the same, particularly post COVID. That really was a marker for the necessity to heal, to go inward, and to learn, like, what is happening within me. Like, yes, we lost a lot of souls at that time. And it was a wake up call for the other souls that, wow, like, if I'm not taking care of myself, if I'm having these preconditions, then I need to do something about these damn preconditions so I don't get got by these viruses or this programming and this mind control and this violence that's essentially been plaguing us for a long time, millennia, in my view, and even longer eons. Yet, of course, we have to make that choice and we have to make that conscious decision to change. And so hey y'all I see hearts and haze out there. Thank you guys for tapping in and just saying hi. Um, and I'm just so grateful to. I got a little bit off topic with the Hawaii because I was really just diving in and really exploring more of what I was experiencing in my journey or in my awakening around what I see happening, not only for the collective and for the planet, but particularly for Black people. And I was scared of that, y'all. And I'm so grateful for myself for this space, for allowing this space for me to really just own and claim that. I was scared of that calling before. I was scared of it because I thought it was too small. Let me just be real. I w- and maybe it is for now, but this is where I need to start. This is where I start. Because I really want to have mass appeal. I posted it. Aaron Patton is like most likely to be the next Oprah. I want it to be the next Oprah. Like everybody knows my name and da 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 and the fame and fortune and blah blah blah. This is where I need to start. I need to start with this Black consciousness because it actually is what my own personal experience. I only know what I know. So how can I speak to somebody else experience without speaking to my own? without speaking to my own community, that don't make no sense. So, I really had to come and accept that as my purpose, which it wasn't a surprise. It's just where I need to start, what I need to master. I came here to be a master. I am a master, but I came here to master this especially. And in my view, I look around the world. I said this in other ceremonies I have, Max and Jasmine. I look around, I've been around the world, y'all. Technically, I've been to all 7 continents. I've not explored Africa as much as I want to. However, I've been to all, and not Antarctica either. Wait a minute. I've been to I've been all around the world, a lot of places. And I've seen everywhere I've gone. To me, in my view, when I see melanated people or people of, I don't even want to say African descent because they may not even be of African descent per se, but they kinky hair, darker skin, brown skin, we're most often in the lowest rungs of society, the most oppressed, the most downtrodden, the most, diseased. And that has always hurt me to point blank, period. And I brought this up, in a ceremony a couple of times ago with Max and Jasmine. And, me and Max kind of had our back and forth about the truth around that. Maybe that's not truth. But in my experience and what I viewed, that's what I saw. And so if this is my journey to become an enlightened one, become an enlightened being, be an enlightened being, carry that light in my being, and speak to higher consciousness, why not support other people that look like me in that journey as well? Being that sort of bridge, if you will, to a higher consciousness. Someone that they can see, relate to, experiences, physical appearance, and learn from. It's much easier that way, for sure. So it makes total sense to me, right? And so I believe for me that really got anchored in my beingness, like locking in, you know what I'm saying? Like lock and key almost for me while on this journey in Hawaii. Not only was it coming forth in my actual ceremonies, but even when we weren't in ceremonies, like when we're at dinner and talking, or when we're on the beach and talking, and when I'm with my team and talking, like this is what was coming up so deeply. And it was getting me so excited and getting me so happy because this is what I've been preparing for my whole life. Like I started this business like on my birthday, November 2020, 4 years ago, exactly. And I started going in this direction and then, took a little turn and really wanted to focus on business. And actually, it's still a focus on business. But now I'm kind of coming back full circle with this business focus, particularly for Black women, particularly for people like me. And that to me, it feels so yummy. It feels so good. And it feels so aligned, I must say. And so, as I kind of start to wrap this up, because I'm getting close to my 30-minute mark here, I can talk a lot, guys, particularly about this stuff, because I get really excited about it. I just really just want to again thank you, Vic, for this space. Thanks for for really riding with me over these years, particularly with the podcast. This has been 2 years now doing this podcast, and going through the various iterations, even of my of my lives, of my video content, and sort of the the variability of it, the randomness of it. I've been finding myself, just as I'm sure many of you are too. And it's really starting to, like I said, lock into place of the direction I'm going, of the content, of what's going to be said, of what's going to be brought forth, and how it's going to really impact the world, particularly new Black consciousness. And so, with that, I just want to encourage you all to go to my website, erinpatton.com. Check out what I have there, check out what I've been doing, learn more about me, because there is so much coming down the pipeline. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm creating so many webinars and master classes and little classes and little offerings to go along with my bigger offerings and my one-on-one coaching and my keynote speaking that really is going to, what I'm saying? Every Black person in the world gonna know who Erin Patton is. Let's put it that way. You know what I'm saying? Mark my words. Like I said, if Michael Jackson can do it, I can do it. If Malcolm X and MLK can do it, I can do it. Nelson Mandela can do it, I can do it. That's how I feel. And I want you all to feel that convicted in your purpose too. Like, if it's whatever, however big, however crazy it is, lock into it, commit to it, and really do the work that you need to grow into it. And I even say, when I came out of my journey, like, this is going to be something I'm going to be working on for the rest of my life. Like, there's no time limit on this dream, on this vision, on this, goal for myself. It's not something that I intend to do by next year, or, maybe even not even 10 years. It may take 50 years. Who knows? And I am willing to wait. Like I told you, I said my prayer, what I say, patience, wisdom, and strength. So, family, I really appreciate you all again for showing love, for tuning in, for like holding space for me, for celebrating me for my 40th birthday. It was a dream come true. And so with that, again, thank you all for tuning in. Follow me at I am Erin Patton across social media platforms. Don't forget to share this, and I will see you all next week on the Meta Business Millennial podcast. I love you. Peace. Did you really love this episode of the Meta Business Millennial podcast? Well, I am honored, and I appreciate you subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends, because your feedback allows us to co-create more enlightened conversations. And if you're interested in growing your soul now, head over to my website, erinpatton.com, to find all the show notes, links, and free resources to get your energy activated today. In the meantime, stay bright, my friends. Much love and light. Peace.